I have this question here and it says, what is the unit vector in the direction of the vector 4, 6, -3? Well, remember we said the notation we define as unit vector is usually r hat, okay? And we define a vector in general, okay? So this is the vector r. We define a vector in general as its magnitude, and we put the magnitude in an absolute value sign times its unit vector, r hat. So therefore, the unit vector r hat has to be equal to the vector divided by its magnitude, r. Okay. And remember we say that these are 3 component vectors. So this is essentially equal to x, y, z. Okay. And we say its magnitude, what we're doing is a Pythagorean theorem, and we're saying this is x squared plus y squared plus z squared. Okay. Now we say a unit vector, its length is equal to 1. Now the direction does matter, right? Because you can have a unit vector in a negative direction, but the magnitude has to be equal to 1. So going back to this question, what would be the unit vector of 4, 6, and 3? Well, let's do the problem. We could say this is the vector r, and it has components 4, 6, and -3. Okay, well, that's nice to know. So if I want to find the unit vector, I know that the magnitude, I know that the magnitude of r, okay, I know that the magnitude of r is just the Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to take the square root of 4 squared plus 6 squared plus -3 squared. Okay, and so when I plug this in my calculator, I'm doing the math here. 4 squared plus 6 squared plus -3 squared. I get my r to be 7.81. Okay, so I get my r to be 7.81. Now, it's very important. Now, we're doing positions here. So we got to make sure our units are correct. We're doing position here. We say r is some sort of position. Okay, so this is 4, 6, -3 in a -3 position. Okay, we take the r of that. We take the magnitude of that. We had 7.81 meters. Okay, so therefore its unit vector. Okay, so we know the unit vector is equal to the vector itself divided by its magnitude. Okay, well, we just found its magnitude and we have the original vector. So this is equal to 4, 6, -3 meters. Okay, and we're going to divide that by 7.81 meters. Okay, now a unit vector, we don't have any units when we talk about unit vectors. Okay, and this should be correct because here we're having meters divided by meters. Okay, so that will indicate that our meters will cancel out and we get no units. Now, how do we divide this thing? We take each component and divide it. Okay, so this becomes 4 divided by 7.81. Okay, and that gives me I'm just going to round to 3 decimal places, 0.52 in the positive x direction. I take 6 and divide by 7.81. I get 0.768 in the positive y direction. And if I take -3 and divide by 7.81, I get -0.384 in the z direction. So I get 0.384 in the z direction, but it's negative, okay? And this will be the unit vector of the vector r, where the components are 4, 6, -3.